But I really want to talk about something a topic that I'm really passionate about. And I hope you all know that I'm sort of casual and I want to have a conversation. Let's have a dialogue about sort of what's going on in sort of human resources, and particularly in corporate America. And I'm going to say it first. Let me preface my comments. When I use the term corporate America and I say business, I'm talking about not-for-profits. I'm talking about agencies. I'm talking about educational institutions. So I'm not just talking about corporate America in the sense that's sort of a generic term for organizations. And I'll try to remind myself so that you know that I'm speaking to all of you about sort of how these principles apply to the workplaces. This is really about empowerment. I was reminded about 1994 or 5, I don't remember, some years ago, when I first made this transition from the law to HR. And this story sort of epitomized for me what I want to talk to you about today and why I feel so passionate about what we do in this profession called human resources, and in particular in the training and development, the pedagogy side of the business, the workplace, if you will. But I remembered, I was the sort of deputy general counsel at Blockbuster Entertainment. And, you know, my grandmother was so excited. I think, you know how grandparents are. They dote on you. They tell everyone, my son, my son, my son. I mean, she has no shame about talking about me, which for me, you know, feels good to have someone in your corner at all times, even when you're doing bad. But I called my grandmother because I had just been promoted to Vice President of Human Resources for Blockbuster Entertainment. Big deal, because I was a young guy, and, you know, this was just a big deal, and I was so excited. The first person I could think of after I got the promotion was my grandma, not my mother, which kind of bothered her, but I called my grandmother right away, and I said, "Grandma, guess what? I just got this big promotion." She was so excited. I mean, I think I made her year that year. She was so excited. She said, "Tell me about it, baby, blah, blah, blah." And I'm my mama's boy, so I spent all of this time telling her about it, and she said, "So what are you going to be?" And I said, "I'm going to be the Vice President of Human Resources." And it got quiet on the end of the phone. And then all of a sudden, I think after she picked herself off of the floor, she said, "Why would you do that?" That was literally her question. You know, grandparents can be very candid sometimes. She's like, "Why would you do that?" And it really took me aback. And so I took a second and I kind of described to her, you know, I even said, you know, 2 weeks later, I'll bring my paycheck to you. Let me show you why I would do that. This is what I made as a lawyer. This is what I make as an HR guy. Let me tell you, this is why I'm doing it, amongst a whole bunch of other things. I explained to her that, you know, being deputy general counsel was essentially a director level job. I was now going to be an officer, a vice president. After all of that, my grandmother was having no parts of that. And I got to tell, 5-7 years, I'd come down to South Florida to visit her and go to her bridge club because she want me to visit all of her friends and tell them about all the wonderful things that I really wasn't doing, but that she had sort of created in her mind for them. And so we'd sit down and she'd say, "This is Jay," she calls me Jay, "This is Jay, my boy," she calls me her boy. She says, "This is Jay, my boy, the lawyer." And that's right now, no matter where I go, she never, ever acknowledges this HR thing. And I think I'm spending time mornings like this talking to you all because I deep down want to change my grandmother's perspective on life. I think I really want her to appreciate how HR really can and should be driving business. And, you know, so I joke about the story, but it's pretty real. It sort of brings you back home and makes you realize how significant a chore we have as a profession, but how important what we do is every day. I was reading a study, University of Michigan, and they sort of conducted this poll of CEOs all over the world, and the number one issue impacting their organizations is people. It wasn't access to capital. They said, we have more money than we can, you know, there's just a lot of cash out there. If you're in the private equity world, there's money everywhere right now. So it's not access to capital. It's not access to ideas. There's not a problem innovating, and America can market anything. Any country that can convince people to buy water is really good, you know, and pay like $7 a liter. I was in a hotel this morning saying, do I drink regular water? Do I drink $7 a liter water? Oh my gosh. I drank the tap water. And thank you. I'm of the people. I'm actually cheap. So that was really it. But we don't have a problem there in terms of America's competitiveness on a global standpoint. Our challenge, our number one challenge, and 75% of CEOs said it, was people. They cannot find enough talent to spend the money that they have in their coffers. And that's real. That means there's a huge, huge, huge opportunity for people like us to really drive business and make a change in the organization. You see the mic go down. That's what this is about. So how can you not do anything but get really excited about a profession that is tasked with helping America remain competitive on a global level? It's about the people. It's really, really that simple. So I'm at this conference at the Waldorf Astoria. It's Yale University hosts a CEO symposium every year. And now I'm really getting my talk. I was sitting there, and I'm in a room full of CEOs. These are the who's who of CEOs, Fortune 100 CEOs. And they're talking about the challenges that they face in their organizations. And I was really, really pleased because about 60, 70% of the conversation was about people. They sort of let me know that this University of Michigan study wasn't just some academic exercise. Most of the conversation was about people, how to find talent, how to keep talent, how to retain talent, how to motivate talent. And I was just really, I'm sitting there, I'm the lawyer they think. They don't know that I'm the chair of the Society for Human Resource Management, so I'm sitting there in the room, and I'm just listening, and I'm just taking this all in. It's heaven. Then all of a sudden, they start attacking HR. You know that article, Why We Hate HR? They told me. And they didn't know that I was in the room as an HR guy. So they were just taking shots at HR people and how we weren't stepping up to the game and how we were missing it and how, frankly, many of them were thinking about disbanding HR. They were going to take the functions. Training and development was really about the line managers. Those are the people who own the people. Frankly, recruitment could go to the line managers. Employee relations, give it to the law department, because it really was sort of unions and lawsuits. And what we're going to leave us with, throwing the parties. And so I'm sitting in this room. I'm really, really, really getting frustrated. If you want to see a black man turn red, I was doing it. I was like, I just wanted to burst. It was purple, okay, because I'm a little darker than you, not quite red. For those who got that, purple, not red, okay? Yeah, so I'm really, really frustrated by this whole experience. And so I go into the restroom. We take a break, thank goodness, because I needed a breather. Go into the bathroom, and you guys, you can appreciate this more than anything. So I'm standing there. This one particular CEO just attacked HR throughout the entire thing. And I'm struggling with him. So we're standing next to the urinal, as guys do. And I'm so tempted to do. I just want to get back at him. And instead I said, no, that would be a bad idea. Resist the temptation, Johnny. But it would have been an accident, I promise you. So I said, we got to the thing to wash. She's like, don't blush, I'm sorry. She's like, I can't believe he said that. But we're at so we decided to go wash our hands. Yes, we both washed our hands and washed our hands. And I said, I could also sprinkle him with water here, but I won't do that either. Instead, I'm going to engage him in a conversation because, we shouldn't have done it at the urinal. Maybe we'll talk at the end about why is it that you so hate HR? What is the deal with you? And he really shared something that's going to set the tone for my comments today. He said, HR people have the biggest opportunity right now that they are, quote, and it was quite a play a pun on the words, he said, that they're pissing away. I was like, you don't know how close you were to know it. But that was profound to me in a lot of ways, because this is someone who was angry not because we existed, but because we weren't stepping up. They were really struggling with this. And so I really engaged this guy. I was like, glad I didn't do what I wanted to do, and really to understand what was going on there. I went back into the room, and I then disclosed myself. I outed myself and said I was a human resources guy, which made them all feel really, really badly. And then I said, let's engage in a dialogue. Let's really talk about what it is you want us to do. Let me tell you what it came down to. They said, it's all about the people. And if HR people would really understand that, really understand it, believe it. Sometimes we say things that we don't necessarily ourselves really believe down in our gut. But if they would really believe that and understand that and put together strategies and implementation plans to actually make this happen, make us appreciate that it's all about people, then you won't have to convince us that HR is important, because we get it. We understand that people are critical. We're just not convinced that HR people are the people or the department or the function that can help us deal with this very critical business issue. He said, very simply,